Coming up, the latest on the investigations into the deaths of 3 American tourists, a traffic fatality in the capital, more on the job fairs, and the Bahamas Credit Bureau making strides. Good evening, everyone. I'm Zenobia Williams with your JCN News for this Monday, May 9th. Thank you for joining us. Autopsies have begun, and local forensic scientists are analyzing samples from the 3 American tourists that have died mysteriously at the Sandals Emerald Bay Resort on Exuma this past Friday. Commissioner of Police Paul Roll, in providing the media with an update on the investigations into the suspicious deaths, also revealed that investigators have engaged a forensic lab in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to further assist in the expedition of the toxicology reports. Now, the commissioner also officially released the identity of the victims. They include 68-year-old Michael Phillips and his wife, 65-year-old Robbie Phillips of Tennessee, and 64-year-old Vincent Paul Chiarella and his wife, Donice Chiarella of Alabama. Mrs. Chiarella is the lone survivor of this tragedy. The couple were in the Bahamas celebrating their wedding anniversary. Mrs. Chiarella, who was initially airlifted here to the capital for treatment, has since been airlifted to a hospital in South Florida.
The pathologist has extracted samples from all of the persons, and our forensic scientists have collected those samples for examination. We are actively engaging a lab in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States, to assist us with the expediting the toxicological examinations of all of these samples. Once those examinations are done, our pathologists would be able to provide us with an official report as to the exact cause of death and help us to determine exactly what has happened.
According to Commissioner Roll, at last report, Mrs. Chiarella was listed in serious condition. Foul play is not suspected at this time. However, police are asking both the local and international public to rely only on official updates, as already there have been false or unfounded narratives.
Our forensic scientists have also collected samples from both of the rooms and the properties of the Sandals Hotel in Exuma to determine whether or not any contaminants are present. In the meantime, we ask that you rely on official updates, which we will seek to provide in a timely manner. We are making arrangements to have all of the victims' properties handed over to representatives from the United States Embassy here in Nassau today. And they will be also making arrangements to have the bodies prepared for repatriation to the families in the United States. As more information becomes available, we will make it available to you.
Now on Sunday, Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper released a statement saying, "First in our thoughts are with the grieving families," adding that as a native of Exuma and a member of Parliament, he has reached out personally to the families to offer condolences on behalf of the people of Exuma and the Bahamas. The acting PM also noted that both his ministry and the Royal Bahamas Police Force will remain in close contact with the families of the deceased. A man is dead tonight following a traffic accident on the corner of Chesapeake Road and Mackey Street on Monday morning. Police are now investigating the fatality that claimed the life of adult male believed to be in his early 70s. Police press liaison officer Superintendent Audley Peters says that the driver, who was alone in the vehicle, lost control of his 1997 silver Honda CR-V and collided into a one-story building. That building, Zanzibar Couriers. The crash resulting in both the vehicle and the structure receiving extensive damages.
On an inspection of the vehicle, The officers found an adult male in the driver's seat suffering from injuries sustained as a result of the collision. Emergency medical services were summoned, and following their investigations or assessment of the body, it was determined that there was no signs of life. Our initial investigations revealed that the driver was traveling south along Mackey Street when he experienced some physical complication and was alerted by other drivers with the use of their horns. He then turned east onto Chesapeake Road, and losing control, he eventually collided into the single-story structure.
Nick Ruma Johnson, who was working at Zanzibar Couriers, suffered minor scrapes and bruises from the collision. He told reporters on the scene that 1 minute everything was just like another normal day, and the next moment he found himself quickly moving out of the way of a car ramming into the office. According to Mr. Johnson, the vehicle missed him by inches.
When I first, it was obviously a shock, you know what I mean, and then just natural reaction took over, get out of the way. I tried to assist the gentleman, called the ambulance, and yeah, check anything hurt, you know what I mean. So once I was fine, I checked on him and pretty much just waited for the ambulance to arrive.
How did his injuries look?
At first he was conscious. He had trouble breathing, and by the time the ambulance arrived, he could stop breathing, succumbed to his injuries. Yeah.
Police are categorizing the incident as an unclassified death and are waiting on an autopsy report to confirm the exact cause of death. Scores of Bahamians are out of work, many of them still reeling from the economic fallout caused by COVID-19 pandemic. This was evident in the large turnout of persons at the Department of Labor's job fair this past Saturday. And with unemployment figures still not readily available, Labor on the Blocks 2.0 yielded favorable results, according to the Director of Labor, Robert Farquharson. On Saturday, scores of Bahamians turned out to the Columbus Primary School here on New Providence and at Jack Hayward Senior High School gymnasium seeking to be hired. Director Farquharson says while they anticipated a crowd for the job fair, scores of people were turned away.
We were very pleased with the employees that were there. We know for a fact that a significant amount of persons were hired on Saturday. One company in particular, Osprey Construction Company, hired an excess of 100 persons on the spot, and they began work today. We know that Wendy's had to begin work this week. We know that Doctors Hospital, First Caribbean, Thompson Trading Company, a number of other companies, Breezes, Sandals, would have employed persons, would have shortlisted persons for additional interviews, and they are also expected to be hired in the very, very near future.
The Department of Labor made provisions for some 33 employers, and that's good news for more than 100 individuals who were either hired on the spot or shortlisted, putting a small dent in the unemployment figures. Director Farquharson says, with the huge turnout on Saturday and based on the response, the Department of Labor is again in the planning stages of hosting another Labor on the Blocks sometime during the month of June. CRIF, a global company that provides advanced solutions to decision makers in the banking, financial insurance, telecommunications, utilities, and business world, has had a presence in the Bahamas since 2020. CRIF Information Services Bahamas, after obtaining the license in 2019 from the Central Bank of the Bahamas to operate a full-file positive and negative data credit bureau in the Bahamas, began operations in 2021. The company collects information from customers of institutions and companies that manage credit collections, ranging from banking institutions to credit unions, insurance companies, and more. It will eventually include microfinance businesses, including businesses such as local furniture stores that offer credit. CRIF collects and provides information to their clients as outlined in the Credit Reporting Act, authorized credit information providers. The information is said to provide factual and usable credit reports to assess an individual or company's credit worthiness for loans, mortgages, and a variety of other uses. Under the Credit Act, all financial institutions and credit unions are required to be a part of the local credit bureau. CIBC First Caribbean has recently met its requirements. According to our sources at the Central Bank of the Bahamas, this brings the total number of entities that are a part of the local credit bureau to 15. This includes 7 banks, 5 credit unions, 1 money transfer business, 2 other lending institutions that may be licensed under the Securities Commission. Marissa Nixon, sales manager of CRIF Information Services Bahamas Limited, shared with JCN that all the commercial banks and the credit unions are already in compliance as mandated by the Act. She noted that as per the Credit Reporting Tax Act, hire purchases companies are listed, but it is not mandatory for them to submit information. But movement will be made to make more companies mandatory. The time frame for mandate is not certain, as that is a judicial process. She notes that banks have already written into their policies and procedures the requirement that customers provide their credit information. When asked if the data can be used for a poll or other investigation on a national level, she said no, it cannot be used. You're watching JCN News. More ahead, stay with us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Silhouette Boutique Collection.